Hello friends, you've stumbled across a short clip from the Daily Switch 2 podcast, which, believe it or not, is a podcast that is about the Switch 2 with new episodes released daily. What will they think of next? Ridge Racer. Man, Ridge Racer. What a game. What a game. Not sure when it first came out, 1993, I believe. Might be 94, but I think 93, in the arcades. And then obviously it was a launch title for the original Sony PlayStation as well. What a game. What a game. And here we have essentially an arcade perfect conversion of the arcade version of that game. The genre, if you don't know, is a racing game. You could have guessed that by the title, Ridge Racer, but it's a racing game. It's very much an arcade style racing game, so it's all about it's not about realistic physics. It's about drifting, and it's about bright colors and crazy overhyped 90s style voiceovers with attitude and thumping dance music in the background. It's a very good time. It's developed by Namco, and at the time, Ridge Racer was like the competition for Sega's arcade races with 3D polygons. It was one of the very first kind of popular 3D polygon racing games, and I don't know. For me, I'm a big Sega fanboy, and Ridge Racer, I believe, was released in between Virtua Racing and Daytona USA. So Virtua Racing was the first kind of really fully realized, fully impressive, fully smooth and playable 3D polygon-based racing game, and was amazing when people first saw it in the arcades. But it was kind of flat-shaded polygons. And then along comes Namco and says, hey, we've got Ridge Racer, which is textured polygons and looks even more impressive. And then Sega went, yeah, but now we've got Daytona USA on the Model 2, which is even more impressive and an even better game. So back then, Namco and Sega were always kind of duking it out in the arcade of who could up each other with the best technology. But the real winner was us consumers, because the Sega games and the Namco games were always fantastic, and Ridge Racer is no exception. It's a fantastic game. I will say, not much content. I mean, back then it was normal, but it was very normal for a 3D polygon racing game at the start to release with just one track, 2 tracks, maybe 3 if you were really lucky. So there's not going to be much content, but Ridge Racer, it's a fun time. And I'll tell you what, man, it's basically one track, isn't it? Ridge Racer, the original, but there's like, depending on what difficulty you're on, you play like a slightly longer version of the same track. I've played that one track over and over and over and over and over again, probably thousands of times in my lifetime. And back in the day on the original PlayStation, did you feel ripped off if you bought a system with Ridge Racer and it only had one track? No, back in the day it was such a novelty to have that arcade machine playable at home in almost kind of arcade perfect fashion, or that's what it seemed like if you squinted at the time. And the thing is that, yeah, okay, it's sort of only one track, but it's so well designed and it's so playable. And if you are like me, as I mentioned in my other previous reviews, as far as racing games go, I love the arcadey style racing games, and I also love time trials. I love coming back over and over and over and over again and racing the same track over and over and over and over again and trying to beat my lap time and trying to get a better score. So even though there's only one track, if you're that kind of gamer, and if you're that way inclined, there's almost infinite replay value here. But if you're not like that and you want to see new content all the time and you want to be unlocking new tracks and new cars, this isn't for you. But if you just want a very pure, simple mid-90s arcade experience, Ridge Racer is a great game. And although I haven't played the specific version, the arcade archives in general, I've bought many of them over the years, and they're always excellent emulations, so I imagine this will be no different. It's developed by Namco. Originally it was published by Namco, but the arcade archives specific version is published by Hamster. I love the name Hamster. It always makes me laugh whenever I say it. It's published by Hamster. Unfortunately, not Virtua Hamster. There was actually a cancelled Sega game for the 32X called Virtua Hamster, like Virtua Racing, Virtua Fighter, Virtua Cop, Virtua Tennis, and Virtua Hamster. That always amused me. Is it an exclusive game? No. And here's the weird thing. Arcade Archives Ridge Racer is already available on the Switch 1. But this isn't Arcade Archives Ridge Racer. It's Arcade Archives 2 Ridge Racer. And the two are not compatible with each other. I understand why. It's because the Nintendo Switch 1 games are not, despite what Nintendo wants to imply, are not backwards compatible with the Switch 2 on a hardware level. The Switch 1 games that play on the Switch 2, they play via some form of emulation pass-through. MVG did an interesting video on it recently where you can debate whether it's fully emulation or whether it's like a layer on top, like a interpolation layer. But either way, they're not 100% compatible. And obviously the Arcade Archives games are actually emulators themselves. So, if you want to get into trying to emulate an emulator, that's going to cause all kinds of problems. So they obviously just made a brand new emulator. So that's why it's Arcade Archives 2. And that implies very heavily to me that most of the Arcade Archives 1 games aren't going to work properly on the Nintendo Switch 2. I understand why, but that's a shame. Here's the thing. It's $17, which already feels a little bit steep. And it's a great game, lots of replay value, but it's just most of the Arcade Archives games are significantly cheaper than that. $17, but if you already bought it on the Switch 1, right now, if you want to play it on your Nintendo Switch 2, you have to pay the full $17. There's no, free upgrade or whatever, which I do believe that there should be, really. Especially if you've paid that kind of price. However, weirdly, there's a little note on the official Nintendo website that says game owner discount at a later date. Game owner discount at a later date. And what that implies to me is that if you want to buy it day one right now, launch day, doesn't matter a hang whether you own it on the Switch 1, it's going to charge you $17 to play it on the Switch 2. Right? But if you own it on the Switch 1 and you are willing to wait, eventually Hamster plans on implementing some kind of discount if you already own it at a later date. But we don't know what. It's not specified. It's just like this weird kind of side note. But if you don't own it on the Nintendo Switch 1 and you're just looking for a game to play on your Nintendo Switch 2, you don't want to spend very much money, $17 will get you Ridge Racer. It's an excellent game and there's a lot of replay value if you're the type of person who likes to replay the same track over and over again, trying to shave time off. Is it worth $17? Yes, there's absolutely $17 worth of gameplay there. Well, that was funny / sad / informative / stupid, wasn't it? Feel free to mentally redact to make that make sense with the clip that you just heard. I don't know what it was. I'm just recording a bumper. But if you enjoyed the clip, please give it a like. If you'd like to hear more, click subscribe, and you can find all the ways to listen to and support the full daily podcast at linktree/dailyswitch2. That's linktr.ee/dailyswitch2. Let's go! Did I sound like I mean that? I do. I really do.